Good morning everybody. Another video. I've not done one for a bit of an m1b. I've come outside to show you this one because in the room there, the spare room where the machines are, it's just too dark to actually see what I've done, a close-up of what I've done. So this is the board of Jacob that I tried to squeeze in between doing others because I'm too busy. It didn't initially look that bad when it come, as usual, you know, usual story. So I told him to send it, and the more I removed, the worse it got. But as I was going along, you see, I'm repairing all these tracks and everything here, and it was just getting worse and worse as I went along and going more and more and under more and more IC chips. But it got to a stage where I don't spend so many hours on a board to then find out I'm giving up and it's not worth it and let's stop. No, this was really a bin job, to be honest, as people talk about, but this is why you don't bin them, because anything, and I mean anything, if you've got the time and the patience, can be done. Of course, it doesn't mean that I want sending ones like this all the time, although at the moment I don't want sending any, to be honest. I've got enough. But yeah, this is a typical, what you'd call, bin job. Battery had rotted everywhere here, absolutely everywhere, even up here. Yep, over here, right away, over here. It's just got worse and worse as I went along. And then what else did we have then? When I got it to boot, I'm just trying to think. I got it to boot and we had, that was it. I got it to boot and we had lamp issues with it. All sorts of weird lamp issues, and that really was down to me, because I've learned something else here now. This is the RAM. Now you'd think the RAM's got nothing to do with the lighting, but it's a connection from the RAM to these two lamp chips here. It was the upper glass lamps that was playing up, and that's what controls the lamps, upper lamps. Well, both, but upper is that one. So what it was, one of my solder joints here wasn't quite that good. So it was not a good connection up here, and of course we had lamps that were playing up, because what I couldn't understand was one of these here controls 8 lamps in the machine. So when you've got 8 lamps that are either permanently on or permanently off, you get what would you call it, moment? Yes, moment. Oh, it's one of these, yeah. So you find the one that it is and you replace it. Twice I've replaced it, whichever one it was, and it wasn't that. So bizarre. But 8 lamps are out, so these control one of 8, and that's the usual sign that it's one of them. But on this occasion it wasn't. Like I say, it was one of the pins to the RAM that I hadn't soldered quite right. So you really are fighting a battle with these things, because you've got to repair all the tracks, replace all the chips, and then there's the fact that you've got to get all your solder joints right. And then when you're ordering these IC chips off the internet, are they legit or are they fake? So you really are having a battle when you're trying to fix one of these things. So I was on this rather a long time anyway, doing this and that. So look at the back. You can just see anyway. Let's have another quick look. All the major workings. I'd say 70%, 60 to 70% of the chips on this board's been replaced. Like I've made it, innit? So the back, doing a few places. I do direct tracks, in other words, where the tracks broke before, that's where I usually put them back. But of course I've covered these over somewhere on the other side. I'm not undoing it all to put these on. These are the ones you find after you've done the fix, what you've missed. So these are just ones it needs to operate. You know, of course it doesn't, on a clean board you won't get that from that there's no track from there to there where I've put it, but there is on the other side, if you know what I mean. You can actually do a board, as I've said many times, with just a load of wires like this all over the back, what some people do, but like I said before, I just find that really confusing, and I like to put them back where they were. So I must admit, I definitely think, and of course you're the guys watching, that I'm getting neater and neater. It's almost like I've made this one with the tracks, look. This is Andrew 96 style of the Mecha. Very good machine repairer. That's who I copied it off, to be honest. You get little ideas off everybody. Even Magic, you know, Magic's another great guy. Will fix more or less anything, machine or other, along with Andrew 96 and a few others on the Mecha there. Whereas I concentrate on these, you know. These and these alone. And I tell you, it's enough with these. Right, so what we're going to do in a minute, we're going to go and fit this in the machine, and I'm going to show it all working in that lot. I'm just trying to think if there's anything I've missed here, anything major. Anyway, it's not quite as easy just fixing all the tracks. Well, you can see the work that's gone into it and replacing all the chips, and off we go, you know, like I've just said. There's been all sorts of things with it, with this board along the way, but I just can't remember because I do so many of them. Now, on another breaking note, just to take off this subject for a minute, these game cards, the square ones for the maygay, I was after a few and I never got any, because I've got about 10 of these things. I've also got a few that people have sent me kind of repair, and I shouldn't really take things that I can't really do. So what happens with these, they either work or they don't, right? The major thing with them, and the most of the ones I've got here, is the sound goes on them, right? And I've been trying for months now, as well as everything else, fixing all these boards and everything, to find out why the sound goes. Now, I did find out at one point that this had a lot to do with it, right? If you take that off, you'll have no sound. I've replaced that, I replaced all sorts of things on these boards, and it wasn't that. So basically the card worked, but we had no sound. So you go through everything, the speaker in the machine, which we know it can't be, because I've got a working card here and it plays fine, you know. So we replaced these have a major part in it, as well as sound, and this as well as to do with the sound. We've replaced these because I thought it's to do with the sound. So, like I say, I've been on it months, and it was one night last week I was virtually going to give up on it, because I've even had this thing out. I'm waiting for some of these on order. I've even had this thing out and put it in a socket to try a good one that I know is working, and a bad one, and it still doesn't work. So I decided to try replacing something that I hadn't replaced. Now, where is it on here? There it is. This is a green one of these cards. You get blue ones as well. Now, in this camera, it might look blue, but trust me, it's green. I'm not colourblind. So there's green, which is the early ones, and there's blue, which is a slight difference, but they are compatible with each other. Now, what I found was, I got one of these boards, right, that was working fine, and I got one that was working with no sound. And just as I was about to give up, I thought, you know what? Let's swap this Reg 3 here, right? This voltage regulator, 5-volt voltage regulator. Let's swap this. Take the one off the bad board and put it on the good board, right? So then we put the bad, you know, the bad off the bad board on the good card, and in the machine, guess what? No sound. So we get bingo in the head, right? Take the good, the one that we know must work because it's on the good board, put it into the board that's got no sound, and we have sound. So I found now, I'm not saying that every one of these that has no sound, it's going to be that, because it could be this, it could be a number of things, right? But I've done two now, and it's been that there. So we've got a breakthrough here. So I'm slowly picking up more and more things, but unfortunately it's taking the time that it is, as people know. Right, so what we're going to do now, we're going to go and put this board in the machine. I'm going to show it working for Jacob. So we're back shortly. Rightio now, so here we are now back in the spare room, or the games room, with the board. So here it is. here is the board, and it is the board, as we can see. Jacob. Right. So now what we're going to do, we're going to fit it. Oh, hang on, move that out of the way. Let's just move that out the way. Can I just say that when I put a battery on wires, right, or when anyone puts a battery on wires, make sure when you shut the door, it's nowhere near that power supply loom. If the battery hangs down anywhere near that, the power on the power supply, and especially when it's on, you're going to have issues. You're going to have a bit of a bang maybe. Right. Now this is sorry, the camera's shaking about a bit. I've got a new stand. It's on like a springy sort of arm. So it's a bit shaky. My videos are usually shaky anyway, aren't they? But you know, there's nothing new there, is there? Right, and what I'm going to show you here is on this plug here, the top plug, you'll find sometimes that the wire or the plug here breaks, right? So I'm not sure whether I'm leaving this like this or not yet. Might be better off putting it a little bit better for somebody else. It's alright for me. So let me just show you. Right, you can see there where it's broke. Right, that's a thing I've added on because someone had put a ridiculous thing on it. So what happens is, that's your ground, right, which is the second pin in here. They don't all have that on them. These are the later ones. The first pin on here controls the reels. Right, so the first wire, the first brown wire is not on there where it breaks on these plugs. You're going to get a reel error. So what you can do is, see, I've done this here. What you can do is put it in the last place on this plug. Should we give a close up if I can? Right, so that wire there, I put a new crimp on that, you see, and that's soldered in there. That wire there has come from the first place over here. First and the last on this, on any, you know, the machines, maygay machines that is, M1, is 12 volt. So you can just put it in that empty place at the end if you've got a crimper, or you can, you know, you've got a crimp to put in there. Yep, so just hang on, this has come off this stand. Just let them loose. So one sec. It's like a vice what tightens up, and it's just come loose because I've touched it. Right, and it's in an awkward place on the machine. Right, so that's that anyway, yeah. So now this is one that I've took another little tiny plug off. This goes in the second place. You must make sure this goes in the second place. There you go, like that. Let's just put these in. Right. So this is a £5 jackpot Italian job, which I will be getting rid of at some point because I've got two. Okay, right, so let's move that light out because I'm going to have to move the machine in a minute to shut the door, etc. Right, everything's plugged in. Always double check these when I send the board back, please, that everything is in the right place. You've not missed a pin or anything, although you'd find it hard because there's a blocking pin in there, but you just never know. Make sure everything is okay. Make sure this battery is away from everywhere, even though it's on wires. Okay, right, let's turn it on. Ready for this, Jacob? And everybody else? The bin job board, or another bin job board. This is what you should see. There you go. Now when you get this, Jacob, that was just like the reset, because I put the board in there then. But you're probably going to get a RAM clear where it's going to alarm for I don't, is it 10 seconds, 15 seconds, and it'll say RAM clear, right? And it won't do it the second time you turn the machine on. So hopefully when you get this at your end, everything should be fine. They've got your Queen Vic dongle and card here, and it does actually work in the one in the storage. Sometimes when I send these boards back, you know, I do these videos, I fix a board, send it, you know, it's all working, it's great, everyone thinks it's great, which it is. It goes to the person, and it's not always hunky-dory, because there can be problems with the power supply, problems with the game card, even the board between coming from here to there can go wrong. It has done, you know. So I'm just being honest and telling people. But of course, it can always come back to me. Believe me, if there's something wrong with that board, what I've done, my name is good. You won't be getting ignored. I'll be honest, it's not always the greatest news that I fixed one of these and took all the time and then it stopped again, but I'll always get it going again. It's a bit of a pain, I'll always get it going again, you know, for somebody. I certainly won't leave anybody in the crap, so to speak, as a politer word. Right, enough of my ramblings on. Let's just take this stand off now, so just bear with me, there's going to be a bit of shaking about here. Right, let's take this stand off. Okie dokie, down there. Let's shut this door. Let me make sure that battery is away from everywhere. Let me just lift it out of the way, not touching the actual battery itself, because I don't know whether I'll get a shock, but I don't fancy getting a shock. Right, or anything worse. Right. So just bear with me for the... I'm moving the machine around here, that's why you can't really see anything. Right, we'll leave it like that so that we can see. There we go. Now, just in case you can see the reflection there, yes, I have got another machine on. The old Apollo 9. It's got Wes's board in from the arcade, which is a very bizarre board, because it worked there, then it started playing up, freezing, double sounds, etc. It come back here. It was absolutely fine for 6 weeks, and then I said it's not doing this what he said it was doing there, and after 6 weeks of playing it here, it started doing what he said. It's now gone away again, and it's been fine for absolute weeks. So I'm not quite sure what to do with that one yet. It might be worth just giving a little bit more of a test, a full day perhaps, to see if anything starts with it. It could be just a passing thing, although I'm not a great believer that you do get passing things. I don't know. Perhaps it's one of the solder joints or something, but we'll see how it goes, and I'll have to send it back and just see how he goes on with it. Of course, I can send it back again if it's still not right, but anyhow. So, there's this one. This is your board in here, Jacob, now. Some doshing. All the meters are ticking away nicely. So, hopefully this is what you're going to see at the other end. Of course, the Queen Vic, of course, not this one, but... yeah, so this is only... oh, I missed that one there. This is only a £5, and I will be getting rid of this at some point. I don't expect a million PMs now, though, please.
I've got a job lined up. Right, put your helmets on. Tell Bridger. Listen. One more word out of you, Arthur.
Yeah, so these £5 have what you call a £5 block on them. I didn't understand what that meant at first, you know. It only seems to go to the £2, and then you sort of know it's going to end there unless you're going to get the jackpot. I'm more the fixing of these and not the playing of them, as people probably know. Well, I say I'm more the fixing of them. I mean, I like playing them, but I don't really know what I'm doing. Let's say it like that. I mean, somebody might think, now, why did you nudge that down instead of nudging that? You know, because I'm not the greatest on playing. But anyway, so there is your working board in the machine, Jacob. I look forward to hearing the good news, hopefully. And if not, we don't have to worry, because, like I say, I don't leave anybody in the crap. But I'll be getting rid of this at some point, £5 jackpot, and it will be absolutely guaranteed off me. Absolutely guaranteed. Famous last words. I wish I hadn't said it. No, seriously. You get one of these off me, which is very rare. You know, you're not going to be left in the crap with it. It will work, and if it doesn't, the board or whatever comes back, and it gets sorted. So there's that, and we're getting rid of that because I have got this one. This is the other one I've got, and I need to keep this one because it's got the hopper in it. And when I fix a board, I have to make sure that the hopper in the machine is working as well due to the board, you know, because the reason I got this was because I found out that I was fixing the boards for back openers, you know, which uses tubes. There's a different part of the board for the hopper, you see. So then when people were putting the boards into front openers that've got the hopper, it wasn't paying out, or it could have been perhaps playing up. So I try it in the back openers first and then the front openers. I've even ended up having to buy a club machine now, which is in the storage at the moment, with help getting it from Adam Palmer. Thanks very much, mate. Because people were putting them in clubbers and having 5 and 6 reel errors. Well, I haven't got a 5 or 6 reel to test, so I don't know, you know. So, anyhow. Oh, just to say, by the way, I believe there is somebody new on the scene that's fixing these boards. Mr. Williams, I believe. Well, I just want to say that, not that you need my permission, you are very welcome. The more people we have fixing these, the better. Might take a bit of pressure off me, because all I'm getting all the time now is people asking me, and I can't take any more. I really can't take any more boards, because I've got all sorts going on. I've got them game cards. I've got power supply, the odd power supply that I'm trying to do, you know. For people that have got things here of theirs, trust me, it'll get done, but it's just not a 5-minute job. And I've got loads of boards, and I've got Callan and Chris's machine here, which I still haven't sorted a board out for, but it's been helping me fix these game cards. And now if I can fix these game cards, you can hopefully have it back soon, even though you're not in a great rush. Well, I hope not, because I've had it over a year. Anyway, so just bear with me, everybody, and anyone I've got anything of here, and it will be sorted, but it's not a 5-minute job. And to be honest, it's probably better if it's not a 5-minute job, because we need to test things properly, don't we? Anyway, I'll leave you on that note now, because I've done enough waffling for this morning. So thanks very much.